Okay, so here are the instructions for the Irish tension Spin-e-Kube. The one that I have here is a copper on walnut stained ash. When you take this out of the box, there'll be straps across the top, and there will be some bubble wrap and a broken piece that sits on top of this knob, and that protects it during shipping. So you don't have to worry about the piece that sits here. That's just an extra. All right, so you start with the box, and you want to be looking at the controls. The controls have a turtle and a rabbit. So what you want to do is you want to start by putting that on turtle. There's an on and an off switch that controls the direction. So there's the S direction and the Z direction, up versus down, and off is in the middle. So you want to start and do all this with the switch in the off position, which is in the middle, and the knob turned all the way towards the turtle. All right. Next up, you are going to have a small parts box. And in that small parts box, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll start with the power cord. This is a 3 amp power cord. So you can plug it into the wall, and then what comes out is 12 volts. So on your machine, there's a matching end. Go ahead and plug that in, and then plug it into the wall. If you are an international purchaser, I don't think my plug is close enough. There we go. If you are an international purchaser, you may just need to get one of the plug adapters for your country. Okay, so now the next thing you want to try to find is the belt. It's this rubber looking thing. And then we have the end bearing support. Has this little clip on it. And then you have your flyer, which kind of looks like a trident. And I believe that is it. Oh, your bobbins. Your cube should come with 3 bobbins. It has a small end and a fat end. So the first thing that you're going to do is take the flyer, put it in the end here that's towards you, sticking up, and then you are going to want to put the bobbin on so the big end is away from you, and you want to kind of drape the belt over that for now. You take the piece with the bearing and you put the bearing towards you, and you slide it in the little back part, and you align. Oops, I have the brake in the way. There we go. You align the copper shaft into the bearing hole and then drop the clip, and that holds it. This leather piece here is your brake band. This brake band goes directly onto the copper shaft. It's tied to one of the little brass eye hooks, goes through the other one, and then you can choose which side you want your brake on, and you just kind of weave it through those little pegs. If you're left-handed, you're probably going to want to use this side. It's up to you. All right, so now that you've got the belt kind of floating in there, you're going to poke it down through to the bottom where the motor is. There's a little wheel here, and it goes over that little wheel and over the bobbin, right like that. Okay, so brake on the flyer. You can pull that where it's just touching, and that's where you get started. The next thing that you need is a piece of leader line and some fiber. So a leader line is any old piece of string. So I'm going to take this leader line and I'm going to tie it through the holes on the bobbin, just like that. Next, I'm going to put the hooks on. There's 4 hooks that come with it. You're really only going to be using 2 of them at a time, but you need those other hooks for balance. It's important to keep the hooks balanced on the flyer. Some people like to add more hooks, and we have those available on our website. So I start by putting one hook close to me and another one a little further away, and then I like to make sure that the hook opening is pointing towards the outside of the machine. On the other side, it's just the other way around.
And it should be with the...
Should be what?
I'll let you move your hand. The orifice opening here needs to match up with the same side as the hooks.
Yes. Did I do it backwards?
No, you're correct.
Okay, good. I usually do it backwards when I'm on camera. All right. So you take your leader line and you run it through the hooks, and then you kind of stick it down in the hole. And this is where you go fishing. So in your kit, there's this copper hook. You stick it in there, and you just kind of fish around. Ooh, don't do that. All right, there we go, and pull it through. So this is where you start setting the tension on the machine. But before we do that, I'm going to throw in a couple of other parts that you'll see in the box. You'll see a little kind of tied up thing. This is extra brake band. There's a fat one and a skinny one. And then we have a cleaning brush, and this is basically just to get lint out of weird places on your cube. And then this is an optional yarn keeper that you can purchase, and it will clip on the corner. The other option that you can purchase on Amazon is a battery pack to run this off of. Okay, now I have some fiber. This is some mohair from my goats. It's got a little bit of VM in it, but it's otherwise okay. So I'm going to pull off a little chunk of that and have that sitting there. And now that I have the machine in front of me, I'm going to turn it on. Now, nothing should happen because I have this all the way to turtle, and that means there's no speed. The turtle hasn't even started yet. So what I'm going to do is, this is the S direction. I'm holding the fiber in one hand, or the leader line in one hand, and I'm going to slowly turn it on. Now, start out pretty slow, slow as you can get it to go. What you should experience is when you move your hand towards the hole, it should pull all that fiber straight onto that bobbin. With Irish tension, you're going to have constant pull from that bobbin. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind when you're drafting. Now, if this is spinning the way that I want it to, and it feels like it's pulling in fine, then I will just go ahead and leave the tension where it is. You can adjust the tension on this by moving this brake band, but we'll cover that in a minute. So I grab a little bit of fiber and I put it through a loop that I've tied into the end of my leader line, and then I wait for it to start to build up some twist. And once I've got some twist, I know that I've got a good kind of connection, and I'll go ahead and start drafting. So I separate my two hands, and when I let go in front here, it'll send the twist back to this hand. I can then push it forward a little bit to feed in, draft some more, just like that. And you can do that a couple of rounds. If you want more twist, you can increase the speed a little bit. There we go. So this is called spinning a single. All right, now let's talk about the brake adjustment up here. So while you are spinning, there may be times when you want a little more tension or a little less tension. What tension does on this machine is when you pull this band so that it tightens it on the wheel, so I'm tugging this way, it will cause the flyer to move more slowly, which increases the difference between the speed of the flyer and the speed of the bobbin. This is where you usually have to play with any machine that you get to find the sweet spot that works for you. One thing that I highly recommend is if you have a piece of seamstress chalk and you have a particular place where you like to keep your tension, you can mark this leather band so that you know where that spot is. So that's a suggestion. If you want to loosen the tension, then you just grab this little piece here and slide it that way so that you can loosen it. So there's tighten and loosen. All right. So what have I missed?
I think
That's
pretty
about
good.
it. All right.
And that's Minnie taking her
That's
bath.
Minnie taking her bath.